In the breathtaking, misty countryside of southern England, surrounded by rolling green hills and dense forests, lay the quaint village of Marshwood. The village was known for its ancient stone houses and winding cobblestone streets, rich in history and charm. Of particular interest, perched on the edge of Dartmoor Forest, was an abandoned manor known as Blackwood House. The manor had been left to decay after a series of mysterious events plagued its last inhabitants in the late 1800s. Originally built by the Blackwood family, it was supposed to be a sanctuary of luxury and an emblem of wealth. However, it was soon infamously known for tragedy and misfortune. Villagers whispered ominously about the deaths, disappearances, and paranormal occurrences tied to the place. Blackwood House stood as a silent, gloomy reminder of a past that no one in Marshwood wanted to remember. One misty autumn evening, a curious traveler named Emily found herself in Marshwood. She had heard numerous tales about the haunted manor and was determined to explore it despite the villagers' stern warnings. An amateur historian and thrill seeker, Emily was fascinated by the dark legends that surrounded the manor and its inhabitants. Emily made her way to the edge of the village, where the imposing silhouette of Blackwood House loomed against the dusky sky. The air was crisp, and the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filled her senses. With each step Emily took, the path became narrower and more overgrown, as if nature itself was trying to keep her away from the dreadful secret that lay ahead. At last, Emily stood before the enormous iron gates that guarded the entrance to Blackwood House. Rusted and twisted, the gates creaked mournfully as she pushed them open, and without looking back, she began her ascent to the manor's entrance. The sprawling gardens were overrun with tangled weeds and creeping ivy, but Emily could still see glimpses of their former glory beneath the wildness. The manor itself, now dilapidated and covered with nature's relentless grip, held a Gothic charm that sent shivers down Emily's spine. Her heart pounded with both fear and excitement as she approached the front doors. With a deep breath, she turned the tarnished brass knob and pushed the heavy wooden door open, allowing herself entry into the unknown. Inside, an eerie silence enveloped her. The grand hallway was draped in shadows, cobwebs hanging like gauzy curtains from the high ceilings. Dust motes floated in the air, disturbed by Emily's presence. Her flashlight flickered on, casting a narrow beam of light across the tattered rugs and faded portraits that adorned the walls. Emily moved cautiously through the manor, documenting her journey with a small camera. As she ventured into what appeared to be the drawing room, she felt a sudden chill, as if icy fingers trailed along her spine. Her breath fogged in the cold air, though she could see no source of the draft. The room itself was beautiful, yet haunting. A massive fireplace dominated one wall, flanked by towering bookshelves filled with leather-bound tomes. Dust-covered furniture was arranged in a way that suggested the occupants had left in haste. Emily noted a grand piano in the corner, its keys yellowed and its surface scarred by time. As she continued her exploration, Emily's footsteps echoed lightly on the creaking floorboards. She climbed the grand staircase, each step groaning under her weight. On the second floor, she discovered a long hallway lined with closed doors. She chose one at random and slowly pushed it open. Inside was a bedroom frozen in time, a child's room, with toys strewn across the floor and a small bed neatly made. Emily's eyes fell on a tiny rocking horse near the window, gently swaying as if recently played with. A cold sweat broke out on her forehead as she tried to rationalize the movement. The stories told by the villagers echoed in her mind, the tale of the Blackwood children who'd vanished without a trace, leaving their toys behind. She shuddered and was about to turn back when she noticed a glint of something metallic under the bed. Kneeling down, she reached out and pulled it from the shadows. It was a small, ornate key, tarnished and cold to the touch. Her curiosity piqued. Emily realized that the key might unlock one of the rooms she had passed in the hallway. Determined to uncover the manor's secrets, she rose and stepped back into the corridor. One by one, she tried the key in each door until, at last, she heard a satisfying click. The door swung open to reveal a hidden study, bathed in a mysterious, pale light. The room was filled with ancient manuscripts, maps, and artifacts that hinted at a dark and arcane history. On the large oak desk in the center lay a leather-bound journal, its pages brittle with age. Emily carefully opened it, intrigued by the possibility of discovering what had transpired within these walls. The journal belonged to Victoria Blackwood, the lady of the house. Her entries detailed the happenings of the manor, the prosperity, the lavish parties, and the gradual descent into madness. Emily read on as Victoria recounted the series of chilling events that plagued Blackwood House. It all began when a peculiar artifact, a jade amulet, was discovered in Dartmoor Forest and brought into the manor. Victoria's words painted a picture of horror and confusion. The artifact was said to possess a malevolent spirit, and once within the manor, it unleashed chaos. Family members were driven mad, apparitions haunted the halls, and whispers of the past echoed through the nights. The Blackwood children vanished shortly after the artifact arrived, their disappearance a mystery that had never been solved. Emily felt a cold shiver as she realized she was holding the key to understanding the manor's dark past. Determined to find the jade amulet, she retraced Victoria's footsteps, guided by the journal entries. Each step drew her deeper into the heart of the manor, where the darkness seemed to thicken, and the air grew increasingly oppressive. Her search led her to the manor's basement, a place long abandoned and shunned. The door to the basement was sturdy and reinforced, and it took all of Emily's strength to wrench it open. As she descended the narrow stairs, the temperature dropped further, and an eerie silence surrounded her once more. The basement was a labyrinth of stone corridors and forgotten chambers. Cobwebs brushed against her face, and the air was heavy with mold and decay. Emily's flashlight flickered as she searched for any clue to the amulet's whereabouts. At the far end of the basement, she discovered a large, wrought iron door adorned with strange runes. The key she had found upstairs fit perfectly into the lock, and with a turn of her wrist, the door creaked open. Inside, the room was bathed in an unnatural greenish glow. On a pedestal in the center of the room lay the jade amulet. Its polished surface gleamed, radiating an eerie light that seemed to pulse with life. Emily approached the pedestal, her heart pounding with both fear and anticipation. She reached out to touch the amulet, and as her fingers brushed against its cold surface, a wave of darkness washed over her. The room spun, and she felt herself being pulled into a void of shadows and whispers. When she finally regained her senses, Emily found herself back in the drawing room, the amulet clenched tightly in her hand. The house, now filled with furious spirits, seemed more alive than ever. Paranormal activity escalated. The once silent halls echoed with cries, laughter, and the heavy footsteps of the unseen. Determined to end the curse, Emily knew she had to return the amulet to its resting place in Dartmoor Forest. She escaped the manor just as the first rays of dawn began to break through the mist, illuminating her path through the cursed grounds. As she navigated the forest, guided by Victoria's journal, Emily felt the malevolent presence growing stronger, resisting her efforts to put things right. Each step was fraught with danger. Roots seemingly reached out to trip her. Whispers tried to dissuade her, and shadowy figures darted in the periphery of her vision. At long last, Emily reached a secluded glade in the heart of the forest. The ancient oak tree described in the journal stood majestic and foreboding. The ground at its roots appeared disturbed, as if something long buried had recently been unearthed. She knew this was the amulet's rightful resting place. With a deep breath, she placed the jade amulet into the hollow at the base of the oak tree. As soon as her hand withdrew, the earth seemed to swallow the amulet, and a sense of calm descended over the forest. The malevolent energy dissipated, and Emily felt the weight of the haunted spirits lift. Blackwood House, seen from the distance, now stood silent and still. Emily knew the curse had finally been lifted. She returned to Marshwood, her mind racing with thoughts of how to share her experience. And perhaps, in time, she knew she would pen down the entire account, leaving behind a new legend for generations to come.